Well, hello and welcome to Midweek Online. My name is Josh, and I'm the youth pastor here at Lifepointe Youth. Had an awesome opportunity to sit and talk with our lead pastor, Mike Cool, and just hear his heart on prayer and why it's important for us, and just how youth culture can play into this thing and really strengthen their prayer life. I think it's going to be just so good for you to hear from him, and I'll see you on the other side.
So we've been in this prayer focus now for a few months, and I'm super excited because we have our lead pastor, Pastor Mike, here. And I just wanted to ask a couple questions and kind of get your insight. Man, it's so good to have you on Midweek Online. So as we've been in this prayer focus, why now, and why is it important, especially for students, to focus in on prayer? Because we've been talking about it for a few months. Obviously, we did the Bible engagement stuff, we did all of that stuff, and then go and listen to that. But why the intense prayer focus these last few months?
Well, hey, thanks for having me on, and thanks for allowing me to just kind of take this time to share my heart with you guys. But I think why now is, man, why not now? Yeah. I mean, everything we've been through in the last 2 years and counting, it just seems this ongoing thing of we define it by COVID, that people need, no matter if you're young or old, people need a relationship with God. And if you can't have a conversation with God, if you don't know how, there's literally no relationship with Him. And I believe students man, they want the real deal. They want to know that God is real, and there is no quicker way to find out and to experience God than to pray, to get alone with Him, and to be able to share your heart, and then to be able to listen. Yeah. Relationship, man. If you can imagine, you say you got a friend, you say you got somebody you're close to, but you never talk to them. Yeah. And that relationship goes nowhere, and it's not even real to you. You just move on to other things. It's the same with God.
Yeah, it's so good, and it's so true, because for so many people, prayer is something that's like, oh, I'll just do it because that's what we do at the beginning of service, or what we do at the end, and what we do before meals. And so it has been really impactful here in service and also Midweek Online, just being able to speak on these things, because it is, especially with some of the things that students face. You guys are facing so much that is incredibly difficult to deal with, and so I love that, and it's been really good, and we got a couple more weeks left here in November, man, so excited about it. So speaking of, man, has there ever been, and I know there is, right, lead pastor, been in ministry for a long time, been a believer for even longer, like, how has prayer impacted you? If there's like a specific story where prayer has impacted you, either by you praying for people or by being prayed for, is there anything that comes to mind when you think of that?
Yeah, I think personally, just prayer is impacting my life personally in just my relationship with the Lord, obviously, and helping me to overcome the things in my life that I struggle with in my life. Prayer is what ultimately allowed me to get free, because one of the powerful things about prayer is that prayer prepares you for the temptations ahead in the day. Yeah. And Jesus, He taught that and modeled it in His life. And so I think personally, prayer has made God real. Prayer has equipped me, because once you pray, God prepares your heart for what's going to come up in that day. And then obviously being able to pray for people. I mean, people have prayed for me many times, but I have seen God move in the lives of obviously people in the church, my own children. I remember my oldest daughter, Macy, your wife now, she dealt with asthma really bad, man. And I used to go into her room at nighttime and just hear her struggling to breathe, and it would just make me furious. That's my kid, And, there'd be bags or black circles in her eyes because she wasn't getting enough oxygen. And man, knowing that I can bring my kids the most precious thing to me, the most precious things to me, to God, and put them in His hands, is amazing. And more times than I can count, I'd go and I'd pray bathroom AC, and it would be a matter of moments, and she would stop wheezing. Her lungs would clear up, and so, I mean, it's just stories like that God cares, and if we will take the time to actually say, God, I'm going to take this thing that is so consuming me, and through prayer, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to lay it at your feet, not because I know all the answers, not because of anything other than I can't do this on my own. And if I can bring it to you and lay it at your feet by faith, then I know it's in good hands, you know. So yeah, many times there's just so often where people have come and man, I've watched prayer instantly change the demeanor of a person who comes in and they're just distraught with grief or worry or pain even in their body. And a simple, heartfelt, faith-filled prayer, you just basically pick them up and you lay them at the feet of Jesus in prayer. And I've watched them at the end of it, their whole demeanor changes. They smile at the end. I mean, it's just crazy how powerful prayer is. And when we just take the time to say, God, it just seems like I'm talking, you know, to an empty room or, you know, like to nobody, but I know you're listening.
Yeah.
And so I'm just going to, by faith, bring this to you.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like, I want it to be an encouragement to you. If you need prayer for anything, I just want you to go ahead right now in the comments or DM our page, man. We want to be able to pray with you. And if there's anything that you're going through, you heard it from this guy, and he's like, he has walked this thing out, and has seen God really move. And so if that's you, man, we want to come together, because we do believe that prayer changes everything. Absolutely. And so it's so good to be reminded of that. And so the last thing that I wanted to ask is, for those who are still struggling, because sometimes prayer, the concept even, can be hard, of this thing of like, I talk to God directly, right? Like, it can be difficult to even have your brain wrapped around that concept. And so for those who maybe they've been watching online, or they've been here in services or whatever, and they're still struggling with believing that their prayers are working, or just having a powerful prayer life where they walk in that confidence that you were talking, what's the first step that they can take in having a prayer life that's really strong?
Yeah, for sure. It's like anything else, man. It's just take a step. You know, you don't have to have this, you know, long thing. It's just taking a step and saying, God, I don't know how to do this, but man, I'm just going to take 10 minutes, or I'm just going to walk outside maybe before I go to bed at night and just look up at the stars and just begin to just be in awe of that, you know, and then equate it to God and talk to him about what you're seeing. I think you just start small. And God is there. He's a heavenly Father. And so I don't know what your relationship is with your earthly father, but your heavenly Father, man, he loves you. And when he sees that we're earnestly trying to figure this thing out as human beings, talking to a God we can't see, we can't hear, we can't touch him, he gets it. He gets that it's a struggle in our humanity. So when he sees the effort, he's there. And I just say, just keep trying. Just start small. Start out by just being in awe of what you see around you, and then talking to God about it, or bring your heart to him and just say, God, I honestly don't know how to do this, but I want to talk with you. I just don't want it to be a one-way thing, and just be honest with God. And I think lastly, one of the most powerful ways, because so often we struggle with distractions in prayer, you know, we go out and do that, and next thing you know, we're thinking about, you know, the dog barking over here.
Especially with a phone.
The phone
like trying to pray with a phone around.
Distractions are the worst. I've often found that I just get a piece of paper and I just begin to say, Dear God, and I just begin to write him a letter. And it helps me to formulate my thoughts. It helps me to stay focused on what I'm doing. It helps me to be able to find the words to share what's going on. And so I just write God, hey, dear God, man, today I come to you and I'm in a good place, or I'm really struggling today, and you just begin to pour out your heart. And before you know it, you got this conversation going with God, and you begin to sense that he actually is listening, so.
Well, and one of the cool things that you can do as well, and it's kind of modeled in just our relationship, is finding people who know how to pray even better than you, finding people who know how to really talk with the Lord. I can't tell you how many times, not that you ever try to copy people or try to make things superficially happen or whatever, but like when you're around people who are powerful in their prayers, you begin to glean on how to do that in your own life as well. And so find people around you who know how to pray better than you do, because it will transform you. It will, like, that's why we've been in this thing for so long. And
It's so important.
it's huge. And so thank you so much for taking some time out to be able to just speak to students and to young people here online, man. I appreciate you. I love you, and you're awesome, man. Can't wait to have you on again soon.
Man, I love that man. He is awesome. He has so much vision, and like I said, he loves youth culture. He loves you guys, and it's always good to hear from top down, like the big boys, the big dogs. You know what I mean? So anyway, I just am so thankful that you guys are stuck around to listen and hear from him. He is so awesome and so wise, man. Like I said in the video, if you would like prayer, if there's anything that you need prayer with, hit us up in the comment section. You can also DM us as well. We would love to be able to just join with you in prayer and believe for things that you are believing for and you are trusting God for. And so you can do that at LP Youth AZ on Facebook and Instagram. And then if you're on YouTube, you can find us and make sure to subscribe by searching Lifepointe Youth Prescott Valley. We have our midweek online, our midweek replays that happen every single week, and you don't want to miss what we have. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your evening.